Welcome back to a Timey-Wimey Pod where we watch every episode of Doctor Who from 2005 onwards. My name's Rebecca,
I'm Haley.
and today we are discussing Series 3, Episode 3, Gridlock.
I am so excited to talk about this. This is one of my favorite Series 3 episodes.
It's one of those episodes that you like kind of forget about, and then you're watching it and then you're like, "Oh, this is a really good episode."
Completely.
Are you ready for some fantastic facts?
Yes, I am.
All right, so this episode aired April 14th, 2007, and was written by Russell T Davies and directed by Richard Clark. It is the second ever appearance of the Macra race, which first appeared in Doctor Who in a second Doctor story titled The Macra Terror and was released in 1967. The first couple that we see in this episode before the title sequence, they were purposely made to look like the couple in Grant Wood's American Gothic painting.
Wait, what couple?
The couple at the very beginning of the episode before the title sequence.
Honestly, I'm going to be so honest. I wasn't paying close enough attention, so I'll have to go back and compare.
Yeah. But no, they look just like that painting of the old people on the farm. Bridget Turner, who plays Alice, who's one of the older women, she was married to Frank Cox, who directed some first Doctor episodes.
The Doctor Who connections continue to be strong.
It's crazy. If you are a British actor, you're connected to Doctor Who one way or another.
Instead of the 7 degrees of Kevin Bacon, it's the 7 degrees of Doctor Who for British actors.
Yeah.
All right, so I shared at the beginning that this is one of my favorite Series 3 episodes, and it has been that way ever since I first saw this episode. But, Rebecca, what were your first impressions of this episode, and how do you feel about it?
I've always really liked this episode. I think the concept is really interesting. The traffic jam, very relatable. I mean, not like that bad, but you just get it. So I've always really liked this episode. It's a really interesting concept. There's a lot of fun characters and a lot of interesting stuff going on. So it's a great episode, really underrated.
Oh, totally underrated. I feel like not very many people talk about this episode very often. And if they do, it's very mixed reviews, which to me is a bit surprising.
Yeah, me too. I love how the TARDIS looks in the opening, or not the opening scene, but the scene after the title sequence. I just think the TARDIS looks so good this series. It's finally lit well. It's bright. It's like open. And it's really fun just seeing Martha and Ten talking around the TARDIS. Like, they really don't get a lot of TARDIS scenes in the grand scheme of everything. So it's nice to have some moments like this.
I completely agree.
My heart always drops into my stomach when she asks to go see his planet.
I know, it is always so sad because she asks, and you can just tell in his face he wants to so badly, but he just can't because everything and everyone is gone. And I mean, you really see him feel that. And I want to say this is the first episode in New Who that he goes into detail describing Gallifrey.
Definitely. It's so beautiful to hear him talking about Gallifrey and describing it to Martha and her face, and she's like, can we just go there? And it's such a sad moment. And yeah, no, it kills me. So instead of going to Gallifrey, we are going back to New Earth.
We are, specifically New York. And I'm not going to say all the news, but it is 15
Please don't.
news.
Yeah. Also, I noticed for the first time when they exit the TARDIS, Ten pulls out the arrow that was shot at them in the last episode.
Stop it. I did not notice that. That is hilarious.
I know. I love that. So look out for that next time you're watching. A fun little detail.
I love it. But really quick, before we get into like the rest of this episode, I do want to bring up something that Ten says to Martha in the TARDIS. He was like, well, look, I told you only one travel in the TARDIS, and then like we'll go home. But like we can stretch the definition, right? Like one to the past and one to the future. And I'm like, King, just admit you like the company.
Just give her a key already. Like, what are we doing?
Mm-hmm. Poor Martha. I always forget how much he kind of strings her along in the beginning of the
No, it's
series.
so sad. And like, for what?
Justice for Martha. She can't help that she was the one after Rose.
Yeah. Speaking of Rose, how do we feel about Ten just taking Martha to New Earth, just like he did with Rose?
Honestly, I don't know what to think about it.
Yeah, I kind of agree.
But Martha does kind of catch on because she noticed he said we, like when he was
Mm-hmm.
talking about the last time he was there. And Martha was like, "Was Rose with you?" And he was like, "Yeah." And
Yeah.
then she is so real for this. She gets really upset because she's like, basically, I'm the rebound. And Ten just is like clueless. Martha, we feel for you. I would feel the same.
No, she's so valid. And it is kind of interesting, like, why are we here? Why did we go to New Earth out of anywhere we could go?
Such a great question because the doctors didn't even get something on psychic paper from the Face of Boe
Yeah,
or anything like
oh,
that.
so true. And yeah, so I definitely do feel for Martha. I would be upset too. It is messed up that Rose got like the fancy city and Martha is just like stuck in the slums and like on the motorway the whole episode.
I know, she literally gets kidnapped by two carjackers. Like, that is
Oh,
awful.
I have some words for Gene and Milo. Just you wait. The mood patches are crazy.
Very crazy. It's giving dystopian 2010s
Mhm.
novel.
So true. It really is. I feel so bad for that one girl who goes to, like, get the patch to forget her family because she thinks she's never gonna see them again.
I know. And like, I don't know if I would like willingly want that, honestly. Like, as painful as like loss is, would I want to forget that? Like, I don't know.
No, no. Who
Yeah.
would? And also, why didn't she just go with them?
That's such a great point. This is the problem I have with this episode. It feels like no one was asking questions, and I just want to ask
So
why.
true. They are deliberately ignoring all the red flags, like why they can never get a hold of the police, why they're stuck there, why there's so much traffic, why the fast lane is cursed. No one is asking a single question.
Even like the lady who Tim was talking to over the intercom, who's a car spotter, who literally was like, 53 new cars have entered the motorway in the past however long. But yet she was like, I don't know if there's a police car. Like, girl, of course there's not. If you can't get a hold of the
Yeah.
police, where are they?
No, it's crazy. And why everyone is just choosing to get on this motorway for like 6 to however many years it's going to take. And it's like, do we even have proof that you ever make it out of this motorway?
Exactly. And like Novice Haim at the end of this episode talks about how like basically the entire planet except for everyone who was in the motorway got killed by this virus that mutated off of one of the mood patches called
In
Bliss.
8 minutes.
Yeah, which is insane. And Novice Haim like also says like it's an automated system. But what I'm confused about is how are people in the slums selling all the different moods if everyone except Novice Haim and the Face of Boe were put in the motorway?
Well, I think it was the inner city that was closed off, not just the motorway.
Oh.
Like the undercity, I think they called it.
Oh, that's entirely possible actually.
Yeah.
That would make a lot more sense. But yeah, it's very interesting for sure.
Mhm. Okay. So, after we meet the mood patch vendors, my girl Martha is kidnapped off the streets.
No, it is terrible.
I feel like 10 should have done more. Like, I don't know what. He should have just done more in this moment.
100%. He could have used his Sonic to like make everyone's ears hurt, like he did in The
Yeah,
Runaway Bride.
he could have just gotten shot and regenerated, and he wouldn't have even gotten
Mm-hmm.
shot because it was a fake gun.
Exactly.
Also, these people, Teen and Milo, y'all are on my enemies list because they kidnap Martha and then try to act so nice, and they're like, "We're not kidnappers." Hello? Yes, you are.
Not to mention, they make really dumb choices.
Yeah.
Like they're not good at driving. When Martha's questioning later in the or telling them later in the episode to like keep driving, like Milo just like freezes up and doesn't do anything. Like, sir, you're being chased by like the claws of space crabs and you're not going full speed, like
Oh
up with the
my
sky
gosh.
open.
And when that other car calls them and is like, drive away, and he's like, we can't. It's like, just drive away. What are we doing?
I feel bad for their child.
Also, you're just gonna like have a baby in that tiny car.
No, I
Also,
know.
notice that there was a bed for them, but not for the person that they kidnapped.
Justice was not served.
Yeah. And they're just like, no big deal. Like, you'll be able to go back and find your friend in 6 years.
6 years. Like, girl, yes, we know the doctor has a TARDIS, but poor Martha's not going to age 6 years in the car on this motorway.
No, it's in. These people suck. They are my enemies. And I really just hate that they act like they did nothing wrong.
I know. It drives me insane because, guys, you did. You kidnapped a woman just to get in the carpool lane.
Just for the carpool lane.
Like, I know we get desperate sometimes for the carpool lane, but why that desperate?
Yeah. No.
But do you know what character I do love?
Who?
Thomas Kincaid Brannigan, aka the Catman.
Yes. I love Brannigan and his little cat family and their kittens.
Mm-hmm. David Tennant with the kitten picture. If you know, you know.
Oh, David Tennant playing with the kittens in that scene is my favorite thing ever. Also, do these kittens like eventually grow up and become like more humanoid, or what's the deal?
That's what I want to know too. I was gonna ask that same question because they're very kitten. They don't have any humanoid in them that we
Mm-hmm.
could see, but their mother is a human. So
Yeah, I have a
how
lot
does
of
that work?
questions about.
Lots of questions.
Yeah, but maybe it's better we don't have the answers.
Honestly, you're probably right, but like, it always cracks me up when Brannigan is like to Tin. When Tin is asking all these questions, he's like, "Yeah, we've been here for 12 years."
12 years.
Like 12 years. Like they started the journey as newlyweds. Like that insane.
Insane. And also, why would you want to have a kid on the motorway?
I know. Brannigan even like uses the phrase kids of the motorway. And I'm like, don't make it a term.
Let's not make that a thing, please.
Like, I know. Like, besides the kittens, if there was any human children out there, how are they living? How are they growing? Honestly, also, how do all of these people actually live without any sunlight whatsoever?
No, it's actually, how are these people not just dying? I don't understand.
I know, what if there's a medical emergency? Someone's gonna just like watch Grey's Anatomy and go based off of that?
I get, well, they did say people disappear, so maybe people disappear. I mean, I know it's the macra, but I don't know. It's great. This whole situation is absolutely insane.
No, it's so crazy.
Did you catch when Brannigan said that they'll be driving till the journey's end?
Oh, I did. And I know for a fact RTD purposely put it in there.
Oh, I have to agree.
Yeah, there's too much of a coincidence.
Mm-hmm. Also, there's a bad wolf poster in this episode.
Stop it. Where?
It's in the scene when Ten is jumping from car to car to car, and he's in that like one Japanese themed car. with all the posters and lights and people in the background. In Japanese, it says Bad Wolf on one of the posters.
Where was Rose?
Where was she? The scene where they start singing always gets me and makes me really emotional.
Me too. Side note, old rugged cross slaps.
It's so good. A classic.
Mm-hmm.
I love before 10 is about to go like jumping through all the cars, how he admits that he doesn't even really know Martha that well at this point, and he was just kind of showing off, and he lied to her about Gallifrey.
He did, yeah. And I really like this moment that he has this self reflection because I feel like it's not something we get a lot from 10 this series, at
Mm-hmm.
least. And I like the parallel of later on in the episode, Martha having a very similar moment of realizing she doesn't know 10 well at all. And that, like, her parents don't know that she's gone. And if something happens to her, they'll never know what happened to her. So I like that parallel. And I really like that moment that he has where he admits that before going to find her.
Yeah, I really like that scene that Martha has later on in the episode that you just mentioned. And it makes me think of next series when she's talking to someone and tells them that they need to tell their family about traveling with the doctor because she knows and she's already seen like just how it will impact her family.
And I really do like that sentiment that Martha like has, next series with that person she's talking to, because I don't know, I just really like that she really thinks it's important for the family of the companion to know, because I feel like not
Mm-hmm.
every companion has always been that way or felt that way. So
Yeah, and
for
I think that's something that's really come back in the RTD2
mhm,
era, which a lot of people hate on, but there's a lot of good parts. And I think
yes,
him kind of bringing the family of the companion back into the story is definitely one of those good parts.
for sure.
I love 10 wearing the purple bandana, dropping from car to car. I think that's my favorite part of this episode. It's just seeing all the different cars and him having to drop down and wear that bandana.
100%. I also find it really funny that at a certain point, Novice Haim is after 10 and not pirates. So
I
they dealt with
know.
pirates, which is so funny to think about. Also
Uh,
terrifying because they can't go anywhere.
I know. Oh gosh. You're telling me those they got to deal with pirates too? No.
Mm-mm. No, I would be so done. I would be like, just take me to the macro, please.
No, literally. Also, when 10 is in the car with that one guy who has like the hat and the suit, and then Novice Haim comes in and he's like, it's like New Times Square in here. I
It's
don't know
so
why.
funny.
It's so funny.
I don't know if that character even has a name, but I really do like him and his car because I don't know, he kind of gives off Doctor vibes a little.
Bro is sitting completely alone in a full suit and hat, and I love that for him.
It's iconic.
He looks like he's from the 1920s, but I love it for him.
Me too.
My favorite moment in this whole episode is when Ten sees Novice Haim and realizes who she is. And at first he's so happy to see her and gives her a hug. And then he's like, wait, no, get off. Last time I saw you, you were breeding humans for experimentation. And it's so funny. It just cracks me up every single time. And I just love how he was so happy and then was like, wait, no.
Wait a second, I can't be happy.
No, get off.
No, it's great. But I do love that she has her little redemption arc with
Me
like the Face
too.
of Boe, and like her being able to tell 10 that like she's changed things, and I do like that because like yeah, I really like that.
Yeah. I just think it's sweet that Ten was so happy to see someone he recognized or knew because that doesn't really
Hmm.
happen to him a whole lot.
No, it really, really doesn't. And the novice Haim just teleports the two of them to where the Face of Boe is.
Oh,
and
yeah.
at the Senate, and the Senate is dead, literally dead. Like there's skeletons everywhere.
No, that shot is crazy. Just seeing like
Mm-hmm.
the ruins of this city and all the Senate they just died there because that's how fast the virus was. Absolutely insane.
So insane. And we find out the Face of Boe has been like powering the whole motorway. So like there's enough energy to keep it going and remain automated, but there's not enough energy to just like open everything up and get everyone out. And just the thought of the Face of Boe giving his literal life to power the motorway, y'all, we can't. And I can't even talk about a part of this whole thing that I really want to talk about because we're not there yet.
Oh, I know exactly what you're talking about, but we'll refrain from spoilers for now. But yeah, it makes me really emotional. And then I think about how the only people left alive on this planet are all the people in the Undercity and on the motorway.
Mm-hmm. Which is so sad when you think about it because, I mean, you see the shot of the whole motorway and it looks like a lot of cars, but when you're thinking about a whole planet, it
Mhm.
is not that much.
Yeah, there's like no one left.
Yeah. But maybe it's good that there was kids on the motorway because of that.
Yeah. No, they
Are we
gotta.
changing our mind?
No, I still
Not
think it's
really.
kind of messed up to have kids on the motorway. Like, what were y'all doing?
I know. Like, can you imagine, like, after they all got out of the motorway, just like the kids would have PTSD from literally seeing the sun for the first time.
Oh my gosh, yeah, like all those people finally seeing the sun after who knows how long. Insane.
So wild.
I love when the Face of Boe asks Ten to save all the people. It just,
I know. And then 10 is like, hey, I'm me. I can power up this computer and get this to work. And while he's doing all of that, and like there's a problem, the Face of Boe in the background is just like, Doctor, I give you my last. And then 10 just says, not yet, not right now. And such an emotional moment.
I know. It really is. And then everything opens up and they're all finally able to leave. And that scene, it's so good. It's so sweet. And we see everyone in their cars and everyone hugging. I love it.
I love it so much. Then you just see the jar cracking.
Oh, no. So sad.
And then we switched to Martha, and 10 had like radioed to everyone being like, you all can go up on the go up from the motorway. And again, like we talked about earlier, there's the moment where like they're literally told to drive up and Milo is like, I can't.
I can't. I can't drive a car.
Like, dude, just go up, aim for the sky, literally.
Like, it's better than being eaten by these crabs. Like, come on.
I know. I know. And then we get to a moment that always cracks me up. It's when Martha is like out of the car and is like in the Senate. And she sees the skeleton on the ground and she's like, Doctor?
I know. No, that gets me too. It's so funny.
And then it just pans to 10 and he's like, over here. And I'm sorry, like that whole scene is just really comical, even though
And
it's
then
like really sad.
it is really funny. And then she's confronted by just a big face on the ground,
Can
spilling
you
out of
imagine?
this jar.
No, honestly, it's really funny when you think about it that way.
It is. It's really funny. But the scene is so sad, and it's so interesting to me how Ten kind of like refuses to accept that the Face of Boe is dying, and he's like, no, like there's no time for dying, like you still got plenty of life in you. And Novice Haim was like, he's dying. He's gonna die.
Yeah, 10 is like really in denial. Like he just can't accept it because he remembers from New Earth of being told that like before the Face of Boe breathes his last breath, he will depart a secret to the traveler, the lonely god. And like 10 knows it's him. And he doesn't want it, but it happens anyway. And the Face of Boe tells Ten, you are not alone. And Ten is like, what does that mean? I am so confused.
He's like, I wonder what that means. Oh well.
And I just have to ask, with all of your brilliance, Ten, with all of your brilliance, you really don't know. You don't have a suspicion.
It's just crazy that he refused to even have the possibility that there might be other Time Lords out there. He's just like, the
Mm-hmm.
Face of Boe was wrong. There's no one left. And like, yeah, I get it because he saw everyone die. He saw his planet get destroyed. But come on, like you have to know. There's always like a slim chance that someone made it out alive. Someone made it off the planet before everything happened.
Exactly. And I feel like he has hope about so many things. And that's like his literal message in so many episodes is that there's still hope, but you don't have any hope for your own people. And like, I get it. Like, he literally saw
Yeah,
everything happen. So, like, of course he would feel this way. But at the same time, there's not like a part of him that doesn't think that there's some other Time Lord out there somehow, some way.
it's just crazy that he refuses to even consider that a
Yeah,
possibility.
100%.
It also makes me sad when Martha's like, "Oh, well, did he mean me?" And Ten was like, "No." Like, you don't know? Like, that's so mean.
I know. But like, honestly, if you think about it, like, the Face of Boe isn't going to be like, yes, you have Martha. That's the big
No.
secret.
It's so true, but still, like, I don't know.
No,
He says it. It's
no,
so
the way he
mean.
says it is like crazy. Like, here's poor Martha. She's been through it in this episode. She almost got eaten by a space crab. Like,
Hmm.
poor girl has been through it all. She's realized she's a rebound, that she's not the first to be brought to New York, and she was brought to the slums. So she's really, really had a rough go of it.
Martha does not get a moment to breathe this entire
Mm-mm.
series.
She really, really doesn't. And I'm going to hold further commentary because, again, we're not there yet. But
Hmm.
Queen, she's a queen and an icon for a reason.
Oh, she is. She is.
What I do absolutely love, though, is at the end of this episode when she tells Tin that, like, hey, we're not going until you, like, explain. Like,
Hmm.
what did the Face of Boe mean and, like, what's going on? Because at this point, she realizes there's something up with Ten and Gallifrey. And I really like that she had that moment with him.
Me too. I love that she just pulls up a chair and sits down
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, no, you're gonna tell me what the heck is going on. You never say anything. And I really love that moment that they have together. And I think it's like one of the first moments that they really connect as friends and like
Mm-hmm.
doctor and companion. And I love that moment. It's such an iconic Martha moment. And then hearing the doctor talk more about his planet, like, it always gets me. It's really sad.
It's so sad. He's so wistful as he's talking about it, too.
David does some great acting in this scene, like the
Mm-hmm.
way his eyes light up, and it's so good.
So, so good. And I do like that Ten admitted to lying to Martha
Hmm.
about
Me
Gallifrey
too.
and, like, had that moment of honesty with her. And like you said, it's like one of the first moments that they, like, truly connected.
Hmm. And you can hear all the people singing in the city.
Yeah, I love that part.
Me too. And I love the last shot of the city and seeing all the cars fly around. Uh, it's a great ending.
I completely agree.
What is the heart of this episode?
I think the heart of this episode is don't lie to someone who's decided to travel with you. And also, if your companion is in a marketplace with you and is getting abducted by carjackers and you're just standing there yelling about it, like, you can do more. You can do more. It's not a real gun.
I completely agree. I also think the heart of the story is unless you are 100% sure that people are actually getting to some other better place at the end of however many years on the motorway, Don't get on the motorway. It's not worth it.
It is not worth it whatsoever.
No. Who is the star of the show?
Is it cheating if I have two?
I'll allow it.
Okay. Number 1, Face of Boe. I can't. He literally gives his last breath to the people of New York.
No, he is iconic for that.
And my second one, he's my favorite. And I can't not use him. Brannigan. He's just great.
No, he is.
What about you?
My star of the show is the nameless hero. The guy alone in his car wearing a full pea suit, wearing a hat.
Yes.
Living like it's the 1920s. He's so dressed up. For who? For no one. And I think it's great. I love him. He's my star of the show.
He's truly the best. And I agree with you.
And we don't do this, but our enemies, my personal enemies, Gene and Milo, y'all, no. Y'all are evil. I don't care.
Yeah. No, you guys can go away.
Yeah. Don't try to convince me that you're good people, because you're not.
You're really not. Like, if you're gonna claim you're not kidnappers, then don't kidnap someone.
Yeah, they're like, we're not kidnappers, not really. Girl, what do you think this is?
And she has on one of the patches as she's pregnant.
No, for like, what are we doing?
100%. Like, get your heads on straight, okay?
Yeah. Do we have any reviews from the past?
Yes, we do. All right. So this first review is from IMDb by the user it001k0306, and they wrote on April 13th, 2007 about this episode saying, "Call me an old softie, but the warm-hearted elements of this episode, combined with some sad farewells, make it the best of Series 3 so far. Wonderful to see the Face of Boe back, and even novice Haim is welcome. But as for the real monsters of the piece, brilliant. What a fantastically cheeky conceit to bring back a monster from the black and white days and turn it into a big budget CGI experience. Freema puts in her best performance as Martha yet, and David Tennant's performance at the end is pure brilliance. This show is in my heart as much as the original run ever was when I was a kid, and it shows no sign of losing its power. Long may you travel, Doctor."
Aw, I love that.
I know. Me too. I was honestly surprised looking at these reviews because they're pretty mixed. I feel like there's a decent amount of positive and negative, but some of these more negative reviews or lower rated reviews are interesting. So user Quipstermal on IMDb wrote on April 20th, 2007, "This was a filler episode, and the story was weak, serving as a flimsy vehicle to deliver the Face of Boe's message. The message itself was exactly what everyone knew it would be, with no gravitas or additional insight."
I'm sorry, we all knew that was the message. Speak for yourself. How was I supposed to know?
100%. They continue and saying that a couple of the characters were amusing on a moderate scale. The makeup and character design was generally good as usual, but the monsters this week were unnecessary in an insert peril here kind of way, and the melodrama quotient was high. This week's outrage moment about the pharmacist was also out of proportion.
I really like the outrage moment. I meant to say that earlier. I love when he yells at the vendors. It's great.
It is a great moment. And they finished the review by saying, "All that said, what I liked about it was that it was a Doctor Who episode, learning where kittens come from, and Martha talked back, and now the message is delivered, so we can bring on redacted." I've personally redacted what they wrote.
I love how everyone's like, yeah, we know what's coming.
You know what? Me and you didn't.
Yeah, we didn't know.
I can understand, but also a lot of people were catching on.
That honestly surprises me. I really thought it was like a huge reveal.
Me too. I think for a portion of people, it definitely was.
Oh, totally. Again, I think when you're involved in like the internet culture and conversation around a show, you're gonna figure things out a lot quickly than if you're
Mm-hmm.
just kind of watching it on your own.
Completely. And since like it all like aired in like 2007, it was honestly like the dawn of the internet. So I'm sure for
Right.
like a certain group of like Whovians, of course they figured it out, or even like the super fans, but like the people who weren't as necessarily like, you know,
Yeah.
yeah.
I wanted to comment on one thing they said about how the villains were just like unnecessary there to like give a scary moment, and they're not wrong in saying that.
Yeah.
However, I'm not taken out of the episode by it. I'm not bothered by it. It fits into the episode, and I think you do kind of need the idea that there's something happening in the motorway and there's, something taking these people out. But I'm really not bothered by it. But you
Mm-mm.
can definitely don't need it. This episode's definitely strong
Yeah.
without it, but it still works.
I agree with you. I could see it like not being in the episode, but I do appreciate that it is. Even though it doesn't really have the biggest moment, like it's not really the biggest point of the episode, I do like it. And I like that they brought back a classic Who alien. Like I always love
Hmm.
when that happens.
Yeah. I like the idea that the fast lane doesn't actually work or exist, and that
Mhm.
everyone that goes down there dies, which is kind of crazy.
No, it's so crazy. Okay, this last review I have, I'm not going to be reading the whole thing because it is quite lengthy, but I will read part of it. It is by the user W011Y4M5, and they wrote on April 5th, 2020, on IMDb, saying, with Gridlock, Russell brings a defining end to the first phase of his remarkable era and marks the beginning of a fresh one, completing the New Earth Face of Boe trilogy, which began in Seasons 1, The End of the World, acting as the bookmark for each chapter of the relationship between the Doctor and Rose throughout his life. The first
Aw.
being her early introduction, establishing their dynamic. The second, New Earth, which acted as the Doctor's reintroduction with David Tennant's incarnation, and this would solidify their relationship and prove them to be inseparable. And finally, we come to the third and final outing, where the Doctor must confront the reality of his situation and her absence, faced with the brutal truth. Everything eventually ends.
Stop. That's so sad.
I
But
know.
so good. And I do love this kind of like unofficial end of the world Face of Boe trilogy, and
Mm-hmm.
how just kind of small things connect all three episodes. And where's Rose? She should have been here.
Bad Wolf was on the poster. Where was
Yeah.
Rose?
Where
Where
was
was
she?
she? But those are the reviews I have. Are there any other things you would like to talk about?
I think we covered it, but we will be back
Mm-hmm.
next week for Daleks in Manhattan and Evolution of the Daleks. We're covering both parts in one episode because, well, we'll get into it next week. But we will
Yes.
see you guys then.
We will. And as always, don't forget to follow us on Instagram and TikTok at TimeyWimeyPod.
And email us anything and everything to timeywimeypod@gmail.com.
And leave us a review on your podcast listening platform. And we will talk to you guys next week. Bye, guys.
Bye.